Mixed Media Essentials and what's in my Craft Caddy. Have you ever watched one of those everyday carry videos? Well, this is kind of that. Okay, well, if you haven't watched them before, it's basically like, what do I carry every day in my pocket? Or what is my everyday things that I need in my bag? Well, this is what am I using and having in my Craft Caddy for mixed media creative sessions. And I just thought it might be interesting to share a peek with you about the tools that have actually earned a place in this caddy. This caddy is brand new and exclusive to ScrapbookCom, and this is the blue one. And I already had some things in my gray one, and then I got this blue one, and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do with this? This is going to be exclusive to the mixed media items. These are practical tools that I use almost all the time in my mixed media art journal making. It's portable because I do like to go in other places in my house and utilize it, so I definitely love that. And staying organized really helps me stay inspired. Okay, let's get to the details. Okay, so today we're going to talk about these must-have mixed media tools. We're going to talk about why each item has made it to the caddy, how this setup helps me stay focused and creative. Kind of touched on that already in our intro. And then just paying attention to maybe this is something you're looking for as well. And you know, it's not too late. If you're anything like me, nobody knows what to buy for you. Well, this is a great way to just get started on filling a mixed media toolkit, basically. So to begin, we already talked about the Craft Caddy. Love it. It's so roomy. Seriously, I've taken this to different states even and utilized it and loved having everything in one place like this and having all this room and all these pockets here for the pockets, right? I mean, gosh, you get a dress with pockets, you feel like you've scored. Well, this is the caddy with all the pockets. Okay, so I'm just going to start as best I can with the foundation of things. So the paper is one of the best things to start with when you are crafting mixed media, or if you want to call it a art journal page. Paper is basically king, right? But let me show you, because I don't always just grab a 6x8 piece of mixed media paper. And this fits in here as well. Just note to self. This book is from Arden Creative, and it's a 4x6 art journal book. It's got pretty heavy duty pages. I started this one in December. I'm trying to add to it every day. I'm kind of having a slow start, but it's a great example of really many pages, and you know, going ahead and closing it up and popping it right inside of your caddy so that you do have it. And so you've got the option of paper, got the option of a art journal like that. Now this album here, I'm going to do a walkthrough on this here in the coming year, but it is a watercolor book. It's about 5x5 pages. And I have added to this, you can tell this one's almost filled up. So I want to fill it up and then I'm going to share it on the channel, because this has been a really great companion. And you may have noticed I've shared pages from this book as well. Again, watercolor, maybe 3x6. I don't think that's 5. And these are some older pages, but again, just a space in which to just get creative and practice some creativity. But it's something that also could fit inside the caddy as well, these smaller books. Okay, so I just want to make note of that. A good example of utilizing my 6x8 pages is when I am making these larger pages like I did here for my Advent journal. And if you've taken any of my classes this year, more than likely there is an art journal page or two that's included. But yeah, paper. Paper is a great place to start. And the 6x8 pads for the mixed media from ScrapbookCom fit perfectly in the caddy. That being said, I also keep a notebook. And that way I have a place that I can put, obviously, notes. And sometimes I sketch in here. Sometimes I'll add quotes in here that I want to be able to add in to a art journal page. And so I like having a notebook with me, and that's just, I'm not using my precious paper. I can just brainstorm whatever. So I think a notebook's a nice thing to have as part of my Mixed Media Caddy. All right, ink blending brushes. Now this kind of segues into, gosh, we could keep a lot of ink blending brushes, right? Here's another assortment of my ink blending brushes I just keep in an old jar. And so could I keep all of these in here? Yes, I still have pockets here in the back of my caddy. I could put all my ink blending brushes in there. And, you know, kind of what happens is, as I get seasonal, I'll pull together the colors that I'm using the most. Right now is December. I'm having a lot of fun making tags like this one that are a lot of greens and a lot of blues. And so this works perfectly to help craft a tag like that by having an assortment. So I don't necessarily try to keep everything. That to me is a little overwhelming. I do like, I've shared before, for me, crafting seasonally really works. And sometimes the season's not real clear, or it's very obvious, like the beginning of February is very pink or red centric or black, or however we like to make for Valentine's Day. And then after that, you're kind of like, if you're here, you're in no man's land because it's not spring for like 6 more weeks. So then I'll circle around a palette. And so that's something that I'll keep close to me, is palette colors, is hues versus maybe more seasonal like Christmas. All right, something else that I have, and the same idea as the ink blending brushes, is to have a colorway. Now here's a caveat. I'm in the midst of collecting the Distress Oxide Minis, but I really like these because they fit so beautifully in the caddy. You can pack these, or maybe even pack these separate if you're going to be on the go, which that's just an option. Neither way is right or wrong. But these minis, I've loved having these because of their ability to fit so many colors. I'm sure I can fit yet another 10, and I will say, as of this recording, the mini 10s are not available at ScrapbookCom. And so I'm just kind of waiting for those to come back into stock so that I can, have more of a selection. And then I will do the same thing. I'll bring those into my caddy by way of, am I using this for the season I'm in? Am I using this for the collection that I'm using? What's inspiring me right now? So that will probably play into, well, let me just talk about this real quick. I'm going to kind of skip ahead here. I do keep some paints in here as well. This is a photo box from ScrapbookCom, and it fits a nice selection of paints because sometimes I do get really painty, and you can see this kind of matches my ink blending brushes, right? I'm kind of staying with a particular colorway. And so that's just how that goes and how I make a decision as to what goes into the caddy in terms of colorways. All right, another thing that's in my caddy is the Distress Sprayer, super old one. Don't judge. I just use it until I can't, and then I'll get a new one. But this is something I use pretty often now. If I'm not necessarily using it for distressing my papers with the oxides, I'm using it to just clean up. I'll clean up my glass, my magnetic glass matte. If I get it real inky, like I have some ink here on the edges, so it's great for cleaning that up. If I have paintbrush that needs to be cleaned up, so if I have stamps that need to be cleaned up, then I can use my water. Oh, and my crafty cloths. So that's just a nice little segue, huh? I adore these crafty cloths so much. I have kind of gushed about these before. I've even given these as gifts because of the ability to clean glasses so beautifully. They've been very well received, but it's great for cleanup. It's great for, you've seen me on here kind of smudging colors with these, that's fun and awesome. And I love multi-use items like this. It is great for drying paintbrushes. If I need to get some extra ink out of an ink blending brush. Okay, I think the crafty cloths and this is a great combination, especially if you're on the go, especially if you're not close to a sink. It's just an awesome thing to be able to have at the ready. All right, something else I keep in my caddy here on the side are some stamp grid blocks. Do I have another one in here? I do. And while I don't necessarily keep stamps inside the caddy, that would be way too broad for me. I just grab what stamps I think I'm going to use, but I don't try to figure that out because I mean, I could have a whole nother caddy for just stamps, and I've actually thought about that. I have given that some time on my brain to think about, but I haven't done that. But I do like to go ahead and just know where my stamp grids are. And so it makes sense to me to go ahead and have them inside of the Craft Caddy. And so I have quite a few of those grids. I have 2 packages. So the thing about them is that they're not kept any one place. They're in multiple places, so that I have a cart here at the side of the table in which I work at, and that also houses some of my stamp grids as well. But it's great to have them at the ready right here. I know where they are. They clean up so well. They got grids on them. I like the flat. I know a lot of people don't like the flat. I like the flat. I've used that for years and years and just prefer it. And so that's grid stamp blocks. A lot of stencils, I just pulled this out of the back in case you're wondering. I just pulled it right out of the back of my caddy. I do keep a lot of stencils in here. I don't go very wide with stencils. As I get new ones, or if they're seasonal, again, the whole seasonal vibe, I will for sure add them in. I'll cull them. I'll take old ones out. It can't, like I just said, it can be still quite a seasonal thing to go about the stencils. And so let me see. I was going to show you what I do have in here right now. This is a stencil I always have with me. Let's just go ahead and add some of this on here. I'm going to just add some, I added some, let's see, what color is this? What color is this? Peeled paint just got added on here. So we're going to have a little bit of extra color in here, but I'm just going to go really light. I adore this dot stencil so much. I use it again and again and again. I love just how subtle you can make it, or you can make it super bold. It's a staple. You talk about an essential tool. I do consider this dot, isn't that so pretty? Just how subtle that is. I do consider that an essential. Another one I consider essential is the little boxes. You can see how well loved these are too. There's some of these that have paint on them that are never coming off. The honeycomb is a real important one as well. This Moroccan tile is becoming more important. So those are exclusive to ScrapbookCom. Then of course the art and creative. This is seasonal. Whoops, there's my dot. Let's put that back. This is new. I don't think I'd consider it seasonal, but this is art and creative. The leaves, I've been using those quite a bit. And then, oh, this one also frosted. I can't remember. It's frosted something. Also from Arden. Use this in Story December. And then sparkle and there's a name for this dot from Tim Holtz. I use these quite a bit. I used this in the last mixed media video that I did. Oh, this is also art and creative, the tiles, and also this kind of Moroccan design as well. So these almost always stay with me. When Christmas is over, I will pull out the seasonal ones, and I'll bring in probably some more winter ones. So I was going to do something here. Let me go back and find that poinsettia. And I just thought with a little bit of this peeled paint, which can be a pretty hot color, I was just going to come in here with some leafing. I love to use a part of a stencil as well. So just because maybe you get a hold of a stencil for some reason and you're like, yeah, I don't think I'd use that. Well, you might use a part of it. Okay. Isn't that pretty? Oops, and I went over a little bit for some reason here, so I'm going to clean that up. And then we're just going to come, because I'm very habitual about what I do at the top. I do a lot at the bottom, so I'm going to come in here with the residual ink and just give it a little bit of a leaf motif. And here as well. All right, let's move on. So I keep these stencils in the stamp and storage, kind of like a tabbed clear pouch there. I do the same thing with the selection of rub-ons. And again, same thing. Seasonal. Might not be something I'm using all year round, but it's the thing about this is it's a great way to use the things that are seasonal. Because sometimes we forget what we have. If you are, I also keep a bone folder in here. If you gather your seasonal items into one place, even if you're a traditional scrapbooker, this is still a great way to bring these type items all into one place and actually get them used. Remember that you have them and make use of them. Oh, my little postage got a little separated there, but I think it's going to just look nice and distressed. So I'm just going to do a couple of these. I'm going to go ahead and bring this Christmas greetings here. Of course, there's also scissors in my caddy. I would get to that eventually, but at this point you can see why you would need to grab scissors. So far in this really simple, this is a really simple mixed media page I'm working on here, I haven't had to go looking for tools. I have everything right where they need to be, and that makes me super happy. And it makes the doing and the creating, I can get really depleted if I can't find something. Oh, I am making a small minor mess of this. I can get a little depleted when I can't find something. When I know I have it, it's here somewhere. Like right now, my collage medium. I thought for sure I had a whole tub of collage medium, and that's something I would keep for sure in this Mixed Media Caddy. And so it's on order right now because I don't have it. I have another glue that I've been using instead. I do like Mixed Media Collage for collage papers. All right, so ignore my S because the S is being very contrary. Very contrary. See if we can salvage it. So Christmas greetings. Just going to add a bit more detailing here and then we're going to move on. I'm going to do that right there. Just going to use part of it. But you get the idea. Having rub-ons. If you're anything like me, and this is a confession, I have a bit of a backup of rub-ons because I'm a little obsessed. If I put them here in this caddy, just like this Yuletide collection here, I'm going to use them. Just another advantage to having everything all in one place. All right, we talked about paint earlier. I can actually go ahead and put that back now. And besides paint, then I have paint brushes. I have a selection here of Dinah Wakely brushes. I have some other brushes on order that haven't made it yet, but a lot of, I try to get, I kind of consider art journaling my hobby. I don't really show it that often. I have taught some classes. I mean, I've taught some pages. I haven't taught necessarily full-on classes, and you can weigh in on that if you'd like to in the comments. But that being said, it is kind of a hobby to me. It's a Sunday afternoon, pull out my supplies, get quiet, slow down, listen to the grandchildren screaming outside, and just have some creative moment with no pressure. And so I like to use paintbrushes. I do have a selection of some old palettes of watercolors in here. I already showed you my paints. I will paint with the oxides as well. And so paintbrushes definitely have a place in the caddy. And so does a brayer. I think a brayer and paint goes together. This is a super old, this is a speedball. This is so old. I've had this for generations. And it's helpful to have it when I want to just do some different techniques with paint, acrylics mostly. And I mentioned medium Z earlier, so let's unpack our extra little books here. And something else that fits in here is a whole entire stack tray. Isn't that great? And so I like to keep texture paste, the opaque especially, on hand. I love the sparkle. This is seasonal, but you know, I'm going to challenge myself to use it more than just Christmas. And then there's this beautiful Pearl White by the Crafter Warehouse. That's also very seasonal, but I think I can move it into winter as well. And so these are texture pastes I do like to have on me. And they work most beautifully with the stencils, of course. And so I'm also keeping a palette knife as well. Okay, I'm going to grab the sparkle here. Just going to add some sparkles to my page. We did this in the earlier art journal page that we did on the channel. I used the sparkle as well as this stencil. It's just pretty. I'm just going to do very little bit right here. Okay. And that is my mediums. All right, we're going to wrap this up with just a few more items that I find are important to have in my caddy. I also keep a magic mat. I think this makes a great surface if I need just for some reason I need a surface like this, or if I need to cut something, then it's like a little cutting board, little cutting mat as well. So that has been helpful to have in my caddy. I have a small assortment of luster pens over here on the side, and again, they are appropriate for the season. Sometimes I use them to splatter. Sometimes I just like to play with some brush hand lettering, and so those are fun. I don't have a whole bunch. I just keep a couple at a time. Plus, I make great splatters if you're ever wanting paint splatters on your work. I have an assortment of journal pens here. These are from Spectrum Noir, and they are all assortment of tips plus a brush chip, which is really fun. So I like knowing exactly where these are. I like having them here. And so those are some important journaling pens to have as well. I talked about scissors. I have a couple pair of scissors here. I keep them small. I don't need to have a big, huge scissor here, but those definitely work just perfectly. And mint tape. Mint tape is real important, whether you're trying to protect a surface or you want to mask something off, or you have seen me maybe put a border all the way around, because I just like to have a border, a white border, instead of going all the way to the edges like I did on this really simple page here. So that is what is in my craft caddy. And I would love to know what are some things that you have found are most useful in your supplies and having them in one spot as well. I'd love for you to join the conversation in the comments. And if you have any questions, please drop those in as well. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching today, and be watching for the next art journal video.